Good morning and welcome wherever it is you are watching us from around the world. This is Enterprise Morning, reaching you from Enterprise Television. I am Henry Iwibike. Let's kickstart today, interestingly, with some newspaper headlines coming from, of course, our newspaper desk. And right after that will be, in conversation also for today. Do well to be part of what we do. Have a say in what we say. You can find us when you reach us at enterprisetvnews.com. You may equally like, comment, and follow us on all our social media platforms at Enterprise TV7. We're very so honored to have with us, joining us right here in our studios, Barrister Vasufeli, Barrister Law Public Affairs Analyst, to see through all that we have from our newspapers. And of course, we crisscross straight to our main conversation for today. Good morning, Barrister.
Good morning.
Thank you so very much for the time.
Well.
All right, so let's start today from our newspapers. And the Daily Trust, it is a big story: Electoral Act Amendment. Senate proposes mandatory electronic transmission of results. And below that story, we have how I lost 8 relatives to Niger tanker explosion. ISWAP threat security from, of course, that the security forces are combing Ondo and the Kogi forest as we speak. But Barrister, let's take a look at Electoral Act Amendment. Senate proposes mandatory electronic transmission of results. So does it mean it has been absent all the while and we are revisiting something new, or what exactly is happening here?
Well, you know, the Electoral Act did not contain that electronic transmission will be compulsory.
Okay.
The Electoral Act was silent about it. But INEC regulation says it will be transmitted electronically. Now, during the tribunal, why Obi's evidence, why the Supreme Court disagreed with Obi, was on the basis of the fact that the Electoral Act did not say that it must be used.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So now Senate is proposing that they include it in the new act, that it will be mandatory, so that if INEC violates it, it will become actionable.
Oh, okay.
So that is where we are going to now. And I think that's important. That argument that if it's in the INEC regulation and it's not in the law, it has been a long-standing argument, because I do not believe, I feel that argument does not hold water, the Supreme Court's argument, that, because first, it is the law, the substantive law itself, that's the Electoral Act, that empowered INEC to come up with regulation. Regulation has to do with the day-to-day running of the election process, during the election, before, during, and after. The regulations stipulates that. And if it's the law that empowers INEC to do so, why do you treat the legislation as an insignificant document? You are supposed to treat it as part of the law, because it is from the breadth of law that it came into existence. But the argument is that since it's not a legislation, since the National Assembly did not pass that regulation, the regulation cannot be held or upheld as a law that the Supreme Court should rely on, to deliver a judgment. As much as in a way it sounds plausible, but when you look at the overall spirit and letters of the law and the intendment of that action, you will see that it's for the purposes of INEC to be able to run through, because the Electoral Act cannot be stating the day-to-day running.
Okay.
The Electoral Act cannot go into all such details, that all that and all that. But now they are saying, bring that information into the Electoral Act,
okay,
and say INEC shall, that is mandatory, INEC shall transmit result electronically. And when you have that in the law,
and that will not be disputed any time in the future.
It will not be
by the Supreme Court when it gets to that level.
No, the Supreme Court cannot bypass a written law. What the Supreme Court will do is to interpret it.
Okay.
Is to interpret that law itself. The reason they're able to bypass this one was because it's the regulation that introduced electronic transmission. You understand? It's just like even the beavers before now. Before 2020, it was not in the Electoral Act that beavers must be used. You know, there was a case where the beavers was knocked off.
Yes, very well.
Yes, before now. you know, that beavers for accreditation, you understand, it's an administrative, it is not, it was the 2020 Act, the 2020 amendment that brought in the beavers and gave it a breadth of law, legislation. Then, I don't know why we're picking it in piecemeal and left out electronic transmission. Now, the issue of electronic transmission, the technical glitch now created a problem.
Okay.
That INEC now at the Supreme Court pulled itself out from the INEC regulation. Now, Parliament is now proposing that they should bring it into the... Why can't we think... I know that there's no foreseeable end in law, but there are things that we know that we can all unpack and put them in the Electoral Act so that it can become binding.
All right. I just hope that, well, with what you said, I don't know if we should give good congratulations to the parliamentarians for doing that, or do we see, what do you think is in the heads of our parliamentarians, knowing that most of them have taken advantage of that loophole?
Yeah, they took advantage of it, but now they're asking that it be brought into mainstream. But the question I want to ask is this. Between now and 2027, are we going to be able to amend this act? This thing we're doing, like this reform that we're going about this way, are we serious about it really? And Parliament will just once in a while, they will just talk about it. The next time they will leave it. Once in a while, they talk. Are they serious about the reform? Or they're just giving us assignments so that we can preoccupy the minds of people just talking and, you know, are they serious about it? A legislation that is supposed to pass before the next election by now should have gotten to at least committee stage. I mean, just 1 year in between. Should have at least gotten to committee stage. But this one, we don't know where the whole thing is.
All right, let's continue with the Guardian newspaper for today. Big story. Federal government begins public finance reforms ahead of new tax regime in January. I do not know what they mean here, Barrister. What are they trying to tell us? That they're trying to panel beat the tax regime before January. What should Nigerians be expecting?
Yeah, in preparation for the coming year, wherein a new tax regime is supposed to kick off, there's need for sensitization.
Okay, that's what it is.
Yes, there's need for sensitization and there's need to prepare the ground for the coming. But just that the unfortunate thing is that the tax is taxing the impoverished. The already impoverished people. I know there are exceptions here and there. That is not for everybody. I know. But for the past 2 years, what exactly has this government put in place to help the economy to bounce back to shape, for which they now feel that it is right for them to put tax and all that? The tax law itself is not bad in the long run, but it doesn't look like a law that should be introduced to people in this state of affairs in Nigeria. It looked like a law that should be introduced to an already existing buoyant economy. Because yeah, when you are introducing new kind of tax laws, before that time you must have worked so hard to bring the people to an appreciable level of economic stability. You understand? Before you introduce, but this one, you are introducing it to people who have not even witnessed any kind of economic stability, who are grappling with a survivor and they are not able to function effectively. So that's the only thing I say about it. I don't think it's... they are still going to apply because it's already passed and signed already. But I feel they are going to have a lot of challenges. There's going to be a lot of challenges.
In what ways?
And that is why they know that there will be challenges. That's why they want to be pulling the resources through the banking system.
Oh, okay.
Yes, through the banking system, because already they've already used the Money Laundering Act to cripple you from carrying too much cash, and then use the cashless policy to reduce. Now, all resources can be accounted for because they are all in the banks.
Okay.
That's what. So for you to be able to move it from one place to the other, that citizens henceforth must describe proper resources, because from next year is not the year where somebody will say, bring your account, let me send you 7 million, 8 million, and at the end of the day it's not well described and all that, and at the end of the day it will be counted as your money you earn.
Wow.
And then yes, because if it's not described proper, it will be taxed and all that. So it's a new regime of financial literacy and financial administration. So everybody should get ready for the incoming regime.
All right, let's see how that goes, though. I would love to believe they would inform Nigerians better on what that means, because it's really sketchy here and there. Nigerians are still trying to, grapple with what that means and how would that affect them and so on and so forth. But let's take a look at other matters here. Nigerians won't accept any deportees from United States. Tuga insists. Ghana had started receiving some deportees from the United States. Nigeria is not receiving. And of course, we see the after effect. United States had cancelled the visa restrictions on Ghana. Now they have unrestricted, travel. We still have the restrictions here. So how do you think diplomatic issues like this can be taken care of without affecting Nigerians?
Well, it affected us largely because of the reciprocity that we, Nigeria pulled a stunt after that was done. I mean, after the restriction.
Yes.
Nigeria pulled a stunt against the Americans on visa regime too and all that. So you could see that this eye for an eye is going to affect us the more. Even the trade deals and the tariffs, the increment in tariffs on importation and all that, that Nigeria tried to put up one resistance and put up what do you call it? Its own guard too. It's giving us problems. And as it stands now, Nigeria and America have a very strong trade ties from a long time ago, from the early 70s. And
you think that hasn't diluted by any form? With the evolution of lots of things and the technological change?
Well, the only thing that have diluted it is the stigma. The main thing that have diluted is the stigma and a little bit of racism and all that. The stigma of internet scam and a little bit of racism and all that. That's the only thing that have. Otherwise, Nigeria and the US have been a long ally to the point we have to pattern our government structure to theirs. Until date, they still buy our crude. Because we have the kind of crude that you cannot find anywhere in the world. Okay, so they are very fixed. They do business with us, Nigeria, very well. And apart from government, even when you talk about lifestyle, we look much like them in terms of even when you talk about lifestyle and the rest of that. Most of we're patterned towards them and all that. So I believe that with time, okay, what Ghana is enjoying today is part of what they have made their country to. They've been able to put up very good optics over there internationally. Ghana economy is nothing to write home about. The only thing saving Ghana is the optics. They've been able to clean themselves for the outside world to see them as people of integrity and people worthy of emulation.
So does it mean that the acceptance of the deportees is part of the optics?
That, of course, your international, your response to international issues, your adherence to the Geneva Convention is one of the things that put you up there. Your adherence to the Sustainable Development Goal puts you up there. You see all those UN programs on UBE, Universal Basic Education, Sustainable Development Goal, Millennium Development Goal, and all that. The country's compliance, large compliance, put you up there in global light, and that's what Ghana have done. You understand? But in our own case, there's always non-compliance. For the Sustainable Development Goal, there's serious non-compliance because the first item there were not compliant, poverty, eradicating poverty. Our government does not have any program today, as we speak, that is targeted, that is geared towards eradicating poverty. What we have are those social schemes, investment schemes that are a type of vote buying. You understand? And some funny cash transfer that are unrealistic, that are lies. You understand? So when you have that, we're not implementing these international policies. If we're implementing them, it will count for us. Even the World Bank will report it, the IMF will report it. We're not. So Ghana have played that politics very well. Ghana have played that politics very well. But when you go inside the country, you know that they are clean outside. They are not doing well inside.
Of course, lots of their products and services are still priced in US dollars.
Yes.
You know, just to tell you how bad the situation is.
Yes, it's priced in US dollars, including water and the rest of that.
Very well. All right, so let's get to the Vanguard newspaper. We have Anambra Showdown 2025, our campaign, a divine project, mass movement. That's coming from Professor Tukur Buratai. ISWAP terror threat, Ondo Kogi governors reassure citizens of safety. Insecurity, defend yourself. Governor Bako charges Niger residents, vows never to negotiate or pay ransom to bandits. A barrister, imagine a governor who gets security votes, who gets more than enough money, and he is asking the citizens to defend themselves. Isn't that ludicrous?
It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate because now, with the resources, he's able to fortify himself with bulletproof cars and the convoy of, sometimes even joint operation that follow them around. Police, army, civil defense, all kind of operations following them around. So he's not asking the citizens to defend themselves. With what resources? Exactly. Because as the chief law security officer of the state, you are supposed to use the state resources to defend the citizen, to protect the vulnerable. You see the mismatch. He's supposed to use to protect the vulnerable. That statement or that speech could be read in different ways to reflect what governance represents. You understand? He should use that to call on the people that the government is doing everything possible to protect them. And the resources of the state will be deployed to protect the citizens against invasion. That's what it's supposed to be. But here you are far away telling them that they should go and protect themselves. You know they don't have the resources to do so. You know they cannot fortify themselves. Many of them cannot even fence their houses. Okay? And all that in that place. And then you're asking them to go and protect themselves. How would they do that? Villages where they are struggling to survive, to eat. Where people are living in squalor and abject poverty. 133 million of persons in this country, the huge, index, misery index, a huge misery index. Now, with that kind of misery index, what are you supposed to do as a governor? It's your territory. You are supposed to man it effectively against ISWAP, against insurgency and all kinds of terrorists. Who says the governor does not have enough resources to ward off terrorism? Is it because we call on the federal government all the time? A state government, the state governor, have enough resources to conquer terrorism, to wipe out terrorism in his state. They have it. After all, they are not the one providing the army. They are not the one providing the police. Even though they support, What are they providing that they have put up there that is indigenous to the state to ward off terrorism? There's nothing. In many states, there's nothing. The state police are talking about is not yet implemented. So what mechanism, what semblance have they put up there with all the security votes, with all the revenue allocation, with all the resources they get? It's just to use to play politics.
It's actually becoming a wide-scale issue. Of course, with Ondo and Kogi State, we just learned that security operatives, army, DSS, the police are basically combing the forest of Ondo and Kogi. And I'm asking myself, how much of that combing can they do, really, to fish out those bad eggs from the society?
They combine and they want to comb, they first of all go and announce it.
Which, of course, they have made.
So
to us.
What are you combing? What are you combing? You go and tell the people that you are coming. More than they will ambush you. There was an ambush.
Yes, that killed about 6 soldiers.
Yes, even senior officers.
Yes, the commander died.
Died in the process. So this war, there must be collaboration. The state must tell us how far they can stand and stretch their hands. Then the federal authority will take it off from there. There must be collaboration, except that what we have is some politicians are even involved in this thing. Some politicians are involved in the huge sense of insecurity. The only thing that is the only kind of criminality that is independent of politicians is kidnapping. But as for the insurgency itself, that one, the hand of government is in it. The one that is free from government is the kidnapping, which is individualistic and or personal, whatever it is, oppression, terror. It's terror in itself. Kidnapping is terror. Yes. So there must be collaboration between the federal government and the state government and the local government to wipe out insurgency in our land. It has caused us serious setback, and nobody is happy about it. And nobody can find peace as long as it persists. The same thing applies to kidnapping.
It's actually very bad, very so bad. But let's get back to electioneering again. Anambra Showdown 2025, our campaign, a divine project, mass movement, and Soludo. Do you think, of course, I've asked these questions time and again, the Anambra election, do you think that's a good litmus test for Amopiton at this point? Its election is coming for November 8th.
Yes.
Yes. Do you think Amopiton might use that as an opportunity to show to Nigerians how great he is?
Of course, it's an opportunity for him to put out the logistics and the procedures he wants to, the kind of system he wants to apply. You understand? He has said that they're going to use drones the other day to, it's not enough to say you want to use drones, because exactly what are you using drones exactly to do? Is it to monitor those buying votes and selling it? Or you want to use to monitor the movement of those materials? Can drone protect somebody from snatching ballot box? Or you can just view the person who will know that it was snatched and, So I think in a bid to sound innovative, he may be saying too much. You understand? But it's a thing about when people are appointed new into an office. There's a tendency to want to over-assert, okay? But we cannot evaluate him on the basis of what he's saying. We can only evaluate him on the basis of what he's able to do. Because he is my lecturer. He taught me the law of evidence in University of Jos. And if you have been taught by Amopita, evidence, anybody that has gone to University of Jos knows. Even one of my classmates was in the National Assembly the day he was confirmed. One of us was there and even spoke about him, because we know him one-on-one. Oh. Yes. So he's a man of integrity, a Christian to the core, Seventh-day Adventist, and does not believe in, as at the time we were in school, as at the time, I'm speaking from that time. Okay, so it's somebody that we believe should be able to deploy, okay, effectively. But my question is this. Every local government have a returning officer. Every ward have a returning officer. So from ward to local government to the state collation center, from the state collation center to the national collation center. So between the ward, the local government, the state, and you have like 5 persons before him. So even if he comes with the best of intention, will he be able to influence these 5 persons who are going to act before he even sees the record? Was it not in this country that election was ongoing in Adamawa, and the state rec announced somebody won the election when the election was still ongoing? So, because now, if you want to blame anybody, can you blame Mahmoud for the conduct of that guy?
But isn't it possible for us to insist that every party's representative must sign the results? So if we can collate them, at the end of the day, we can find a result that is insympathical to what is presented.
That's what is done now.
So where do we
Party
now have
agents.
those loopholes then?
No, hold on. Party agents. Party agents are in the, what do you call it, in the polling units. It's polling unit, you have party agents. You understand? But once the result leaves the polling unit, well, it's a polling unit that you deploy your agents to polling unit, not collation center.
Definitely.
Collation center is INEC.
Yes.
So when they pull the result out from there and it gets to collection center and they start to move from collection center to collection center, your agents don't have authority over the result any longer.
But even if it's doctored in the process, can't the reps collate their numbers to say this is what we found or this is what we have, the evidence we have?
Yeah, that is why these representatives, party agents, are asked to come to court as witnesses to speak to the documents their party is tendering. You understand? They will speak to those results and state exactly, verify them and all that. Okay? But if people who rig, the way they rig this thing is that you can even have the agent's signature on the same sheet and rigging had taken place because it's handwritten.
Okay.
Yes. In the last election, you saw a video of INEC are mutilating.
Yes, of course, yeah, mutilating the papers.
That one they are mutilating. The agents at the polling have signed already. Have signed already, yes. So when it gets to few questions, just few questions, take a look at this result. Take a look at that signature. You confirm your signature. And before you know it, you have reservations. The document is saying a different thing. And in law, documents speak for itself. You cannot describe document.
Even if the numbers are doctored.
It's a court. You can say that. You can object a piece of evidence that should not be admitted. You can object it. You understand? And when you object it, the court will rule on it. Okay? Will rule whether or not it will be admitted. If your law it can be taken out, if it satisfies the principles of admissibility of documents, it will be admitted into evidence. Yeah. Even if the weight that they come and place on it may not be too high because of the controversy surrounding it, it will first of all be admitted, at least it will come in. Then when the court is not determining the matter, the court will look at the substantial non-compliance you are talking about in the result. So that's how it is done. So the rigging is not even in the polling unit. The rigging is not even carrying ballot boxes. The rigging is systemic. And the politicians are responsible for the rigging. It's systemic and they are the ones responsible. In places where they notice that they are not able to penetrate the INEC or the REC, or like the one that happened in Abia.
Yeah, Abia State. Yeah.
When they notice that kind of thing, when they study the situation, what they do is to create mayhem so that the election will be disrupted in those areas where they have low this thing. And so sometimes when they modulate, you start to see something like number of accredited voters being less than number of actual voters.
Oh, okay.
That's overvoting. And when you have overvoting and all that, the law is that the results in those areas should be cancelled. And there should be a rerun. That's why sometimes you have.
That is when they do the magic.
Sometimes you have a rerun. Some politicians are they are experts in that rerun. What they want is for the election to be declared non-conclusive, so that there will be a rerun. By that rerun, they have already narrowed their strength. They don't have to bother with the other side again. So now they are narrowed. In Kogi, when they did that, you saw helicopter all over for the rerun and all that. You see how it turned out. So INEC should be able to give us a free and fair election if they want to do so. If they want to do so. But how will you get every staff of INEC to do the right thing? That's the question.
To be compliant. Well, let's, for now, believe the 60 seconds elevator pitch of Amopito at this point and hope that the elevator pitch will, of course, fleshing out to what Nigerians would expect and of course, be happy for him. Just to let you know that the barrister would still be here to take us on our main conversation. That is when we return competency and compellability of witnesses under the Nigerian law. And that is the Nnamdi Kanu case. That in a bit. We'll be right back. Please don't go anywhere.